It is tier list time. Hi everybody, welcome to the new tier list that is taking place after Overwatch 2 Season 12 mid-season patch notes. So let's not waste any time. The criteria is at S, meta, A is strong, B is fine or mid, C is niche, the niche can be good and the niche can also be bad. And then finally we have D or even F tier, which is just bad in general. Bastion's alright, he's niche character. I think we've spoken about Bastion quite a bit. He did get a buff where it just helps him fight against other squishies, which I would say was actually a little bit needed because Bastion was really struggling against the higher health pools. And he's fine. He's a niche character. He's not like overly powerful. And sadly, for as long as, you know, he's a noob stomper in low elo, and then like he becomes irrelevant the moment you get to like mid plat or even diamond. So he's fine. Like Bastion, where he is, this is the perfect spot for him. They should just leave him there and not try to make him even like B tier as a character, in my personal opinion. Also, before I continue with the tier list, as always, remember, I try to make this a little bit more general. I don't focus on, let's say, the super high elo side of things, so anything GM and beyond, I don't want to focus on that. I would say this tier list is relevant as up to Masters, because at the moment, I am playing in Masters. I don't really have that much time to grind it out. Otherwise, if I was able to have a little bit more time outside of work and university obligations, then I could definitely reach GM. But I will speak from that experience. So with that being said, again, trying to generalize it to everybody and not just the super high elo. So let's continue with the tier list now. Cassidy is fine / mid. He's in the B tier. He's a pretty good character. I wouldn't say he's overly strong, neither is he overly weak. The meta, we're sadly still in a diva meta, and she is next, so I'm going to talk about her in just a moment. But Cassidy's fine. Like, he's nothing too crazy. They did buff his grenade, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of the way that they've buffed it, but I also understand why they did it, so I don't necessarily hate it. But the character's okay. I don't think he's anything overly strong or niche. He's fine. Like, you can pick him up, you can play him. Just, you know, be sure to be careful with how you're playing him against D.Va, because D.Va is a problem. Speaking of D.Va, I hate to be the one to say it, but D.Va is still meta, and I genuinely feel that Blizzard doesn't understand how to approach this character, and it's getting really depressing now, because the micro missile buffs that they gave her to secure kills even faster is ridiculous. Her ability to isolate and bombard on another target immediately is ridiculous. She also has the 3.5-second boosters that they gave her from a couple of seasons ago. So her boosters are coming online really well. Like, if you have a smart D.Va player who understands how to play the map, how to play high grounds, how to utilize her boosters effectively, keep herself on a really good uptime in, you know, the actions per minute and the way she's like flying around the map, having an impact, it's going to be really tough to deal with her. And healing is still really strong in the game. Like, healing has been progressively buffed over time throughout the, you know, post season 9 patches. So in my personal opinion, I would shave off another I would argue 50 armor off of D.Va and not compensate her in any way. If they want to keep her lethal, then that's fine, but there needs to be a window of vulnerability on D.Va. Number two, if they want to keep her tankier, so she's surviving, having uptime, and, you know, being a little bit more of a type of tank that, you know, wants to peel and slow down the game, that's also fine. But the way I would approach D.Va then is I would nerf micro missiles, or look into the way boosters are working. But definitely I think micro missiles and the way that they've been buffed is a little bit silly, so I would approach that. Next character is Genji. Genji's okay. He's fine / mid. I wouldn't say he's strong or meta. Neither is he niche or bad. He's in a place right now in the current state of the game where you can definitely play him. The 225 HP helps a lot, and with other things in the game being nerfed over time, it makes him, you know, indirectly buffed in a lot of cases. Now, it's not nice that Moira got buffed. It's not nice that some, you know, like Zen got a big buff. It's definitely becoming harder and harder per patch to duel them, but it's not impossible. You can definitely do it. The sad thing about Genji is that you have to put in 10 times the effort, where some, like, playing any other hero or even dueling another hero doesn't require as much as effort as that. The hero's okay. I still believe he needs 28 shurikens. I think they've left Dragon Blade in a shitty spot, and it's just going to be there for the rest of time, which is completely understandable with their current philosophy. I don't know what they're going to do with him when we do go back to 6v6 in the 6v6 tests. I'm quite worried for Genji's future in Overwatch. But it definitely looks like when it comes to the Shimada brothers, Blizzard just has a hate boner for both of them, despite both of them quite literally arguably making the name for Overwatch and also being their best cash cows. But, you know, it is what it is. Speaking of the Shimada brothers, Hanzo. Now, Hanzo's bad. Okay, look, I need people to understand, just because the character got his one-shot back, you have to think about everything else that has been nerfed in his kit. He has 225 HP for no reason. despite not being a mobile character. All right, and the 225 HP was given to him because the devs argued that, well, the Hanzo versus Hanzo matchup will feel better, and you know, now that matchup is going to feel better anyway because he can do the 225 he can blow up 250 HP heroes is you know, with the one shot. Sorry guys, my head is all over the place. This character really you know, messes with my head. But Hanzo has too many nerfs. So he has the 225 HP for no reason. He has the smallest projectile size in the game, where he's competing against every other character that have marginally bigger projectile and bullet sizes against him. He's also in a meta where D.Va and Winston are really prominent, and dive is pretty strong still. So his ability to deal with dive is really bad, and he probably just really fits in a niche or a really small case scenario of being played with brawl or rush comps. But even then, because of the downtime and how you're shooting out your, you know, normal arrows, the character is just not worth it. You can legitimately just play Mei, you can play Symmetra, you can play a lot of other characters into that brawl or even rush comp, and get a million times more value. I personally think all the nerfs that came with Hanzo's you know, one shot coming back to him were extremely unnecessary. The easiest fix to this is nerf storm arrows. Nerf storm arrows. They're the spammy nature that Blizzard doesn't like. I don't understand why they don't approach it. Nerf storm arrows, okay, and then give him back his draw speed and move his HP up to 250, and I think Hanzo is fine. You don't have to do anything over the top. Everything else is understandable, but just do these changes and the hero can at least be niche or mid depending on the meta. But right now the hero is bad, and I don't particularly appreciate a certain Hanzo content creator. I don't want to name names. I don't have any hate or ill will or anything like that against any content creator. But I do really dislike that there is a particular content creator who, for lack of better words, tries to gaslight his community into believing that this is an amazing buff and there's nothing wrong with it, despite all the different downsides that do come with it. And just because that one content creator can play Hanzo really well in diamond lobbies doesn't mean that a lot of other people, depending on the elo that they're in, are going to get marginally the same experience, especially the higher up you go, where people are playing the game much faster and will just destroy you on Hanzo for free. I mean, I'm playing at a mid-masters level right now, and anytime there's a Hanzo in any team, it's a free kill for the enemy tank, or even in some cases an enemy diving support. So just some food for thought. Again, I think I've given enough hints as to who that content creator is, but I have no hate bone or no ill will. I just disagree with their opinion, and I personally think they're gaslighting the community, because if that gaslighting works and because of their bigger reach, it means that there's a chance that Hanzo will not be compensated, because, you know, I'm a small content creator. Blizzard does look for the bigger content creators, and if that content creator in their community believes that, no, this is it, this is the changes that Hanzo needs, then we've marginally net nerfed Hanzo and made him so garbage. And because people cannot formulate their own opinions and have to act like sheep and just listen to what their head honcho says, then Hanzo's forever going to be D tier. Again, no ill will, no witch hunting, no nothing. I just disagree with that content creator's opinion on Hanzo. I think the hero could be in a much better spot, and we should strive to, especially because he's a high skill, high reward hero in my opinion, we should strive to make the hero feel better and not accept mediocrity. That's what I believe in. That's what I want for all the characters, not just Hanzo. With that being said, let's move to Junkrat. Junkrat is actually fine, and I would go to argue that Junkrat is actually pretty damn strong on the maps that he's really good. The projectile changes, the projectile size changes they've given him, his combos coming back on 225 HP, and there's so much in the game. Like, Rat is actually a very strong character right now, but in general, I just put him in fine. And but I actually really enjoy playing him. The Junkrat Mafia has corrupted me, so whenever I'm not on Genji, I'm playing some Junkrat now, especially since Hanzo's been kind of bad, so Junkrat kind of feels that projectile niche when I don't want to play Pharah or Echo. So Junkrat's actually pretty damn fine right now. He's a very good character to play, but please actually understand where Junkrat does work and doesn't, all right? Like, please don't play Junkrat on a dive map and then expect him to work. Like, it's not going to work out in your favor. I've been seeing people pick Junkrat on attack, on Circuit Royale. Like, please, guys, be realistic, okay? Anyways, moving on. Lucio. Lucio is pretty damn good. I don't know if I want to put Lucio in meta or strong, because I do have certain experiences myself. But for the sake of consistency, I think Lucio is a pretty damn strong character. I think right now his ability to duel is insanely overbuffed. I definitely think he needs to lose a little bit of the damage that he's received, because he's way too strong for the mobility and everything that he does come with. He's very, very strong. He fits really well with D.Va as well. So, Metapec, I don't want to draw out you know, the topic too long. I think you guys know why Lucio is really strong in general. Speed is the name of the game. Has good synergy with D.Va. It is what it is. May's niche. She has her places where you can play her. She fits into brawl comps rush comps, and you have to make it work. If you cannot make it work, it is what it is. Play another character. I sadly believe that Mei is one of those characters that we have to keep niche, because if she becomes meta, she's a very problematic hero, and I don't ever want Mei to become meta. I'm fine with her being niche. She's okay the way she is. Leave her where she is. Moving over to Mercy, the buffs that they gave Mercy were really good, and I can't believe that we're almost at the old school Valkyrie, like, you know, Valkyrie rework Mercy levels of her kit, and she's still kind of bad, and it just kind of shows you how the game has evolved. Like, she has 60 healing per second just on base now, which is crazy. But unfortunately, Mercy is niche. Mercy is a niche character. She's fully reliant on her DPS heroes being able to pop off and enabling one person that's popping off to become the raid boss of the lobby. If you do not have that, please don't play Mercy. Like, you are legit indirectly throwing the game. I don't want to be the one to say it, but she is a niche hero, and understand her niche. If she's not working, do play another support and help your team out in that regard. Pharah, I would... The Pharah is really awkward, because I would probably argue Pharah's become kind of niche now. I don't want to say she's fine or mid. D.Va being strong, Ashe being really good, Widowmaker's begun... I don't know why, but Widowmaker's kind of popping up a lot more now because of the power levels of other characters that keep Widow in check have kind of dropped outside of D.Va. So Widow's really strong, Ashe is really good. I've been on the receiving end of it in mid-masters quite a bit, so I will say Pharah's probably niche. You can definitely make her work, but good lord in heaven, you need your tank to really set up all your engages. You cannot engage by yourself, otherwise it's basically GG's. And I do believe Pharah has 225 HP, which does hurt her. So Pharah, niche character, you can definitely make her work. She's not bad by any means, but niche character at the moment. Reaper is strong as hell. I would almost put Reaper in meta, but no, he's not meta. Like, he's not like a meta defining pick or anything like that. He's just strong. He does a really good job of fighting and dueling D.Va. He can actually contest her. He has 300 HP, which is a lot of tank. He's practically a mini tank himself. And then, like, his ability to also duel Winston, where I swear to God, Winston can feel really oppressive at some points. And even now with the new armor, it can feel really difficult to sometimes try to 1v1 a Winston before he gets away. But if you have additional help, maybe a Mercy damage boosting you, a Zen Orb, or just another DPS or tank helping you burst the target down, Reaper can really take over the game. Reaper's really good, and honestly, I hope to God they don't nerf him. I think Reaper's fine where he is. He's a fun character. A lot of people can easily access him. He's a very honest hero. There's literally nothing dishonest about this character. And we need more honest characters to be strong or fine rather than niche or bad, right? That's my opinion. Reaper, love the guy, thumbs up, keep him relevant. Also, best mythic skin in the game, arguably. No, actually, not even an argument. He generally has the best mythic in the game. Reinhardt. Okay, again, Reinhardt, actually very damn strong. The armor really helps Rein. Rein's time to kill is pretty damn good. He's just been receiving buff after buff after buff. He's not meta by any means, but 100% he's incredibly strong if you know what you're doing. A lot of Reinhardt players that don't understand how to play Reinhardt or are just picking up Reinhardt and spamming shift on cooldown. Guys, for the love of God, that is not how you play Reinhardt. And if you think like Rein's this 1v5 character, you're never ever gonna understand where his strength actually comes from. Rein does a really good job of controlling the pace of the game, either slowing it down or speeding it up for his purposes. If you understand how to do that on Reinhardt, in my personal opinion, Rein's a very damn good character to play. Obviously, he has some poor matchups in the game, but right now, a lot of things are working in Rein's favor. Arguably, if it's a rush or brawl map, like you're playing King Zero and shit like that, and you're running up against D.Va, there's not much D.Va can do against Rein either, because Rein's insane armor negates so much of D.Va's pellet damage and everything. So Rein, against that D.Va matchup, if there's no good high ground for D.Va to play around, then my goodness, Rein can 100% take over the game. For the love of God, just don't feed on the character, understand when to do what, and you will be a very good tank on him. Roadhog is niche, and that's fine. I don't care about him. Screw him, worst character. One of the worst characters designed for the game, and it still is crazy to me that when they reworked him, they didn't understand how to make him an actual tank, and they just fed into the DPS tank, like a fat DPS philosophy. It is what it is. He's fine. He's not good. He's not bad. He's niche. You can play him against people that sniff glue, and if the people on the other side are not sniffing glue and understand how to deal with you, swap off the character. That's legit the best I can say. Also pretty good at dealing with Doomfist and Wrecking Ball, so he does have that niche going for him. Soldier 76, my goodness, I'm really close to putting Soldier in bad, but he's really not that bad. I wouldn't say he's fine or mid. I definitely think the armor still hurts him, but you can certainly play him, but there's just better options. I don't know. I don't know if I want to put him in mid or niche, because he doesn't really have a niche. He's a very generalist hero. For now, I'm going to put him in fine and mid, but I will say Soldier 76 could use a buff if they refuse to nerf armor. That's just my personal opinion. Symmetra, actually very, very good mid or fine hero. She's really good. Again, if you're because the name of the game right now is D.Va still in the meta and she's really prominent. She has really, really good matchups against D.Va in general, and the HP pool changes has helped Symmetra's breakpoints quite a bit as well. The armor nerfs has helped Symmetra quite a bit as well. If there's not that much high ground and you as a Symmetra can control fighting the enemy D.Va, Sim can do a really good job of just destroying D.Va and farming like her ultimate for free. But you definitely need to be careful, because she does certainly have her bad matchups, but I would say in general against the rest of the roster as well, Symmetra's really not that bad. Like, she's really not that bad. I think people do underestimate her a little bit right now. That's just my personal opinion. I've actually been trying to learn Symmetra a little bit, and I think she's fine. She's not overly strong. She's not overly bad or niche. She's definitely a character that you can 100% play if you understand how to utilize her kit and understand, most importantly, how to take her matchups. A lot of Symmetras don't understand how to take their matchups and turn to feed, but when you know where to fight somebody, when to fight somebody, how to work with your tank, that's where Symmetra begins to really shine. But outside of that, maybe she drops to niche. So I don't know. You know what? We're just gonna put her in niche. I don't think she's like generalist level like these characters, but she's not bad. She's niche. Torbjorn, fine, mid. You all know I'm the resident Torbjorn hater. He's pretty damn good, and I don't have much to say on him. He's fine. He's fine. He's mid. He's not strong. He's not bad. He's not even niche. He's fine. You can play him. He's very good on defense, so use him there. Tracer. Tracer's really awkward. I don't know if I want to say Tracer is strong or if Tracer is meta. Like, the armor still hurts Tracer quite a bit. Briggite has been popping up now a lot more. Briggite works really well against D.Va. Briggite works really well with D.Va. And that is just an indirect nerf. The Inspire uptime hurts Tracer quite a bit. I would maybe say Tracer is strong or meta, depending on what she is playing against and with and everything else. But I wouldn't put her in B, C, or D. So for the time being, I will put Tracer in meta. Like, okay, I'll put her in meta. I think, to be fair, like, the higher up you go, she becomes more and more important. So she's meta. She's 100% meta. A good character to always learn. Widowmaker is interesting to think that in a world where D.Va is strong and Dive is still pretty relevant, Widow wouldn't be as strong, but Widow is popping up quite a bit. A lot of Widow's counters have been indirectly nerfed, and on the maps where Widow does want to come alive, Widow is really damn oppressive. And then if you are playing like a pretty good counter comp, you need Sombra. Like, if you don't have Sombra, Widow just falls off. But I don't know if I want to put Widow in strong. She's not meta defining, but for sure. But you know what? I will say Widow is fine, mid. I will put her in the middle. I don't think she's overly strong to where you play her everywhere or you just, do whatever you want with her. But she's fine. Winston's pretty damn good. He's meta. I think anybody that's been on the receiving end of Winston lately will realize his bubble can feel obnoxious to try to burst down. The armor on him is keeping him alive and staying in fights for way too long. Winston's a pretty damn good tank. Not much to say about him. Zarya is niche now. I would prefer her to stay in that niche. She has her places to be played and counter things. I don't want Zarya to ever be fine, strong, and meta, because in a single tank environment, Zarya can become so oppressive if she's not kept a check upon. So that's just my opinion. Zarya's niche, we have to keep it there. Thumbs up. Please do not let Zarya get out of control. Otherwise, Zarya is actually fine in mid if you're playing her into different brawl and even like a poke tank like Sigma. Zenyatta is pretty damn strong. He's not meta by any means, but I feel like people are underestimating Zenyatta crazily. He's a very damn strong pick. He obviously has his weaknesses, just like any other character will, but his breakpoint changes are insane. It's insane. Like, really, when I'm dueling a Zen, I feel like if I duel him or I'm on the receiving end of his volley, like the sniping that he does, it's so hard to react. It's so hard to deal with him. It's insane right now. And he has massive projectiles. He had the biggest projectiles in the game in general. I don't understand when people talk about things like Hanzo and his logs, despite having the smallest projectile size in the game. People never talk about Zenyatta legit having the biggest projectiles in the game that can just destroy you across the map. And they help him build Transcendence on a legit cooldown. So Zenyatta, to me, incredibly strong. Incredibly strong. Not meta. Maybe if D.Va falls out, he could probably enter meta, but he's strong. Ana is pretty strong. I don't have much to say about her. Um, Against the meta characters, she does kind of suck, and you can play her, like you can play her into any comp and with any comp. You can play Ana anywhere. She's just that damn good of a hero. But I wouldn't say that she's meta defining. Diva and Winston do kind of shit on her. But outside that, she's a pretty strong character. She has her flaws here and there, and they can be exploited. Sombra is really awkward. So Sombra can sometimes feel genuinely like a niche character, and then in other cases, she can sometimes either feel meta or strong. Like, Sombra's a tough one because I play a lot of Sombra nowadays. I play a lot of Sombra because I have to counter Widows. I have to learn how to, farm Diva for EMP. So I've learned Sombra quite a bit, and honestly, I would say she's mid. I would say she's fine mid. She definitely needs changes. I think it's time we remove perma invis and try to rework her kit around that, make her a little bit more dynamic and fair to play against rather than allowing Sombra to get free setup against everybody. But the problem with Sombra losing that free setup means that Widow gets to reign over the game for free. Because in my personal opinion, Sombra is the only character keeping Widow in check. And if we lose the perma invis and no changes are made to Widowmaker, then I hate to say it, but we will 100% enter a Widow meta. Orisa is fine. I wouldn't say she's niche or bad. You can definitely play her throughout the ranks. She's okay. She's fine / mid. Her buffs are helping her out. I would even argue she's quite a bit of a sleeper pick that people are not paying attention to. And once these two tanks get kind of hurt, like Diva and Winston, I do believe Diva and Winston will be nerfed again in the near future. Once they get kind of hurt, I can see Orisa skyrocketing to A or S tier. Just keep an eye on Orisa. Trust me on this. Doomfist. Okay, so the current patch where armor has been nerfed has helped Doom quite a bit. He's actually not that bad. I would say he is strong. He's not like B tier. He's an A tier character if you understand how to push Doom to his ceiling. And in most cases, sadly, you just have to also punch bot on Doomfist, which isn't the most fun playstyle, but he's 100% in a pretty damn good spot now. On last patch, before armor nerfs, I would actually argue Doom was down to C, being a niche tier character, but now he's A tier. Moira is actually pretty damn good. I wouldn't say she's good or bad. Like, throughout the ranks, you can play her pretty much anywhere with anything. And whilst obviously she doesn't bring good quote-unquote utility, she's still a pretty damn good character, and she's received a lot of amazing buffs to help her out. So, strong, not meta defining, good hero. Brigitte, same case, very strong character, or arguably there's very little things holding me back from moving Brig up to meta, because I don't think she's the meta. Meta means most effective tactic available. I wouldn't necessarily say she falls into that category, and because of that, I think I want to put her in strong and not necessarily move her over to the meta side of things. But if there is like some sort of an indirect buff to Brigitte again, it's hard. Brig is really hard to talk about, right? Because against Brawl, she's like terrible. She drops down to like C or B. But against like all the dive comps running around right now, Brigitte is really damn strong. So I'll put her in strong. I won't put her in meta or fine because she's pretty damn strong. So if you understand how to pace yourself from Brig, she can be very damn good. Wrecking Ball is niche. If you're good at him, you can make him work. If you have teammates following up on what you're doing, you can make him work. If you don't, please swap off. I'm not gonna extend this conversation because that's just the sad case of Wrecking Ball in 5v5. Ashe is strong. Maybe Ashe is meta, honestly, I would say. Yeah, I would put her in meta. She's a really damn good pick. She works really well with Discord Orb, Mercy's damage boost. She can be played in a lot of different cases and scenarios. I wouldn't necessarily say that, like, I wouldn't say she's a meta-defining pick, but she can fit into meta compositions. And depending on the map, she can become meta. But also, you know what? No, honestly, I'm wrong. I take that back. I think she's a strong pick. I don't think she's meta-defining. She can complement a lot of the compositions. Like, if you're playing her on Hollywood, Kings Row, maybe Sorvasa, I believe that's the name. New Junk City. There's a bunch of places where you can play Ashe, like Numbani. Like, there's a lot of places you can squeeze Ashe into and make her work. So I would say she's strong, maybe not meta defining, but strong. Baptiste, meta. Like, we've talked about Bap a lot on this channel. Meta, there's a million things to say about him. I've said it a million times. You guys know how it is. Sigma's buffs are insane. I was gonna say Sigma's always been the middle of the pack tank and middle of the pack impact and everything, but now with his new buffs, he's definitely gone up to A tier. He's very strong. Still, he's very strong in the niche maps where you play him. He's not like a generalist, like you can play him as like a brawl tank versus Ryan or something like that. You're gonna get rolled by tanks like, you know, Zarya, Ryan, Doom. But when you get to play him on those like more pokey maps like Circuit Royale with your Widowmakers, with your Ashe, with your Hanzo, you know, with your Torbjorns, oh my god, the new AoE damage is insane. Seriously, don't sleep on Sigma. The AoE damage is insane. But his weakness is that he loses to other brawl tanks, so it is what it is. Or a good coordinated dive from Winston and D.Va. Moving over, we have Echo. The changes to the game, 225 HP, armor nerfs. Echo is back. I can safely say that. She's not as bad as she was before. But, okay, I wouldn't say Echo is strong. I think Echo is back from the perspective that she went from C tier up to B tier, and that's where she is. She's fine now. She's okay. She could definitely use a buff. I have some ideas and videos in mind to talk about Echo. I think Echo is a very complex character in the way that we need to approach her. Because there's multiple ways to mess with her kit to buff her up, and we have to think about what's fair and what isn't fair for Echo. She does have a good matchup into D.Va if you're smart with timing your stickies and bursting her down. But also at the same time, if the D.Va is smart, she can immediately destroy Echo, especially with the new micro missiles and the tighter spread on her, you know, cannon. So Echo's fine. Wouldn't put her in strong or meta tier. She's fine. You can play her. Sojourn is niche. Sojourn arguably needs a lot of help. The current meta doesn't help Sojourn's case either. I can't believe we're in a meta where I would argue that Sojourn's actually pretty niche now. There's places where you can play her, brawl, rush comp, even some poke comps. However, she's struggling a lot against dive, and Winston and D.Va do a damn good job of isolating and zoning the Sojourn out. And honestly, at the moment, Sojourn just kind of feels like a bit of a weaker Soldier 76, which is funny because a while ago we were saying that Sojourn feels like a stronger Soldier 76. Kind of crazy. This is just my opinion. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on Sojourn. I'm actually going to make a video soon talking about why Sojourn may need a buff. Jungle Queen is niche as well. I've talked about Queen's problems a million times. We'll do a dedicated video on her very soon. So let's talk about her there. Kiriko's fine. Not strong. Not meta. Like, I have to be fair. It's, she can fit into a lot of different things, and she can also fit out of a lot of different things. But she's fine. She's middle of the pack right now. There's just better options at times to play with the D.Va comp. I'm trying to think, like, I have to be fair, because I personally think Kiriko's lost power in the current state of the game. The 225 has hurt her a little bit, and so the rework to her kunais was nice, but again, the problem with Kiri at the moment is the game is much faster because of Lucio and Juno, right? A lot of what we want right now is super speed. So, okay, to be fair, Kiriko is strong, but she's not meta. I don't want to put it in NB. She's 100% a strong character, A-tier character, but she's not at the point where she can define the meta, because I personally believe she's not defining the meta. It is a lot on Lucio and Juno. Ramatra is strong as well, pretty much like on the same tier as Ryan, so don't need to talk much about that. Lifeweaver is surprisingly fine now. I would actually, again, I'm like one of the only people that generally argues that people are always sleeping on Lifeweaver, and we're just like one or two genuine number changes away from Weaver entering strong or meta. You have to understand where you can and cannot play him, and once you understand that, you can definitely do whatever you want with him. He's a pretty like fun character to play at some points, although he can induce a lot of frustration as well, to be fair, so something to keep in mind about Lifeweaver. Iliari is pretty damn strong. She does suck against the meta compositions that pop up, the dive-based compositions that pop up, but she complements Baptiste really well. She plays really well with Kiriko. She's not that bad with Juno either, although it's a bit of a more of a random comp, but yeah, she's pretty damn good. Maugus niche, and that's it. That's fine. Keep him there. Venture is actually pretty damn fine or strong, depending on the map, so we'll put her in B. And finally, Juno. Juno is the meta. The devs themselves, Alec did mention that he doesn't want to directly nerf Juno just yet. They want to see what the current changes will do to the game. And that is my opinion on it. I think Juno is still pretty damn strong. She works really well with Baptiste as well. Arguably, I think the meta is a little bit, it's a little bit more diverse right now. There's a lot of different things going on, but I would say if there's any guarantee that which characters are 100% like the most effective tactic available, it starts with the supports, and it 100% starts with Juno being very, very strong. D.Va's right behind her, Lucio's there, okay, then Winston, then Tracer, and then Bap, depending on the map and different type of composition, can go down to either A or meta tier. So that's my personal opinion on it. 𝐒𝐿 as well can go to meta tier if the meta begins to shape up in her favor, but I just don't see that happening right now. That doesn't mean 𝐒𝐿 is bad, guys. It just, like, I just personally believe she's not at that power level where she's defining the current state of the game. In my opinion, these characters at the top are defining the state of the game right now. These characters work really well with, against, or in the current state of the game. These characters are fine in the current state of the game and are either mid, like they have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, and they're a little bit more exploitable compared to A and S. The niche are niche. There's places where they can work, and then there's places where they're going to feel like ass. And then there's the Hanzo tier, which is just absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. We need to talk about Hanzo again in another video so I can once more explain what Hanzo needs. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.